Back to Tested Sports on this Tuesday night, June 21st. Jordan, Joe, and Ringle, as always. We were in Joe's new place last week. Now we're in my new place now. I have the weird, blank background. Ringle has some stuff going on. He's got some sparkling lights. You see that?
I do, right over
Joe
here.
has, a lot going on. He's got a door, a lamp, some pillows.
It's a little overwhelming.
He's got, looks like a pitcher over his left shoulder. And, Joe's got a lot going on.
Ringle looks like he's dining in, a dimly lit restaurant.
Yeah.
And it looks like I'm in a house, and it looks like you're in a basement.
Exactly. Yeah. It looks like I'm my backdrop's like interview for a job backdrop. You know what I mean? Yeah. Ringo, looks like you're dining in the homestead because they always have
that fireplace.
The fireplace, and it's always dimly lit in that place. They don't light it up that much. Ringo, good analogy there.
I appreciate that.
Good analogy. But on this Tuesday night, Yankees and Mets keep rolling. But I speak of it, they're both losing right now, so it's not looking good for either of the New York teams. Yankees down 5-2, Mets are down 3-0. But still, nonetheless, they're both playing very good baseball, coming off good weekends and weeks. Last week, we got the NHL Stanley Cup Finals going on. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. We got a lot to talk about in the news and notes. Basketball season's over. The Warriors are the champions, and again, they are the champions. And we're going to talk. Joe's going to go over the Knicks and their draft. And like I just said before, a lot to talk about in the news and notes. All-Star voting, first round came out. Some eye openers, to say the least, in the All-Star voting. We're going to tackle the procedure behind the fan vote. Do we like the fan vote or not? And a lot other more in this episode of Uncontested Sports. Before we get into anything, follow us on Twitter at UncontestedPod, Instagram at @Uncontested_pod. Listen to us live on Twitter Spaces through our Twitter account. And then right after the show ends, when we go live on Twitter Spaces, you can find us anywhere you can find podcast streaming platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. You can find us on there. Joe, you picked up your mic. It looked like you were about to say something.
No.
You're just picking it up.
No, I'll say something eventually. But
no, he will. I have confidence in him.
We're waiting on it.
I like the listeners to kind of be on edge. I don't like to come out right away. And
you like they're sitting on the edge of their seat.
Exactly.
They're on their toes, just waiting for the Joe Ibrahim pipe bomb.
Exactly.
All right, so we're starting off with the Yankees here. They are not looking good today. Nestor did not look good. You got three solo home runs. Got pulled, didn't even finish 5 innings. They're down 5-2 right now. But one bad blemish on the Yankees is not indicative of what's going on with them right now. They are running away in the American League. They're running away in the league. They're running away in the AL East. They're 12 games up on the Blue Jays, who are in second, 13.5 on Boston, who are in third, and the Rays, who are in fourth now, they're 14 up. The Blue Jays, Red Sox, and Rays are closer to last place than they are to first place. And it just goes to show this Yankee team is doing something unprecedented we have not seen in a long time in baseball. They're 50-17. As it's looking right now, if the lead holds, they'll be 50-18. But 50-18 is still a very good margin. They had that tough loss at the end of the Toronto series where they almost swept. They let up a 5-run comeback, and it came to second and third, 2-out Rizzo, top of the 9th. It came down to the wire, but the Blue Jays held them off. And the Blue Jays got one more game back from the Yankees on that Sunday game. And then the Monday game, the Yankees beat the Rays in a thriller. The Blue Jays lost. Yankees get that game right back. So no harm, no foul on that third game of the 3-game set in Toronto as the Yankees get it right back on Monday against Tampa. Yesterday's game was insane. Garrett Cole takes a no-hitter into the 8th, loses it with 1 out in the 8th. And the Rays, these games with the Rays, they're all low scoring. They're all nail biters. You're sweating every single game out. The Blue Jays series, the Yankees have killed them a lot of games. The Yankees have really beaten them down in a lot of games. And when they're not beating them down, they're still putting up runs. The Rays games, every game this year, are close, low-scoring games. And yesterday, you have a 2-0 lead. It went a no-hitter into the 8th. You'll leave the 8th inning tied at 2 because of what? 2 choppers to the pitcher's mound. That gets the job done. And it's little things like that, but credit to the Yankees. They come back in the top of the 9th, get the job done. Aaron Hicks, trust me, we love to rip at Aaron Hicks, and it was rightfully so. But he's having a pretty good month. He had a big hit yesterday that gave him the lead, and then a sac fly got him home on his game-leading triple, and they win 4-2. But this Yankee team it's just unbelievable right now. This game, if they lose, so what? They're just running away with things in the American League East. Yeah, is this pace going to be, are they going to win 120 games? It's possible.
It feels that way right now.
But it's possible. It's going to be really hard to win 120 games. You have to be amazing from April to the end of September. But
It's a long season.
it's a long season.
Yeah.
But right now, if there's any team to do it, right, it looks like it's the Yankees. Everything's clicking except for today.
But these close games against the Rays are good for a team like the Yankees. You don't want to be going in and night out and blowing teams out, which they have been doing. I mean, what's their run differential at right now? It's probably absurd. It's through the roof.
It's like 150
something.
Yeah. And the second place team's not even close. I
Yeah.
think it's the Astros or the Mets.
So these games, these close games,
No, it's the
even if
Dodgers.
it's
Oh, it's the
just
Dodgers?
even if these close games are just against the Rays, it's great because as a team you have to learn how to win both ways, especially in baseball with the season being as long as it is. Playoffs a lot of times are about who's getting hot at the right time. You got to be able to do both. So
Yankees lead at plus 145 in run differential. Second best is Dodgers at plus 114,
Mhm.
and then it's the Mets at plus 72.
And good point there, Joe, because the past couple of years, Yankee fans have seen that this team, when they were down in some games or close games, they were not coming out on top of those games, especially when they were down. You kind of felt like they kind of mailed it in. But this year, close games, they're coming out on top. Every close game, they are winning them. And if they're not winning them, like the Blue Jays game, they blew the lead. They put the Blue Jays to the brink with 2 outs in second and third in the ninth. They didn't come out on top, but they're making teams sweat it out too. And every game against the Rays, yeah, we're not beating their brains out with 9 home runs or 9 runs in an inning or whatnot, but you're winning the nail biters. And these games against the Rays, these are the playoff games. These are playoff games. Low scoring pitching duels in which the Rays scored their 2 runs because of a double in the was it the 8th or the 7th? I want to say it was the 8th. A double in the 8th, and then 2 choppers to the mound. One was a force out at first, the runner scored, and the other one was a tough play for Clay Holmes. That's how you're going to get your runs. And in the playoffs, you're not going to be you're going to have a game where you're blasting home runs left and right in the playoffs. Those are going to happen. But you got to get timely hitting no matter how it comes, whether it's a shot down the line, a shot in the gap, or a chopper to the pitcher's mound that gets the guy home from third.
You still got to play small ball. That's still a part of this game. And we love the home run ball. Balls are juiced, balls are unjuiced, whatever it is. But you still got to play small ball to win a World Series.
Yeah, and then the Yankees, they brush off those 2. They took a no-hitter into that inning. They lost a no-hitter, lost the lead, and they come right back. An unlikely triple from an unlikely guy in Hicks, and then the sac fly. That's how you got to get it done in these playoff-type games, these nail-biting, gritty, sweat-out every pitch games. You got to get the unlikely heroes in Aaron Hicks, and you got to get the job done with sac flies and great pitching. And they got it. Wandy Peralta got the win yesterday. He closed it out in the bottom of the 9th. And literally the day after, he let up the game-winning 3-run home run to the Blue Jays. So a good bounce back for Wandy Peralta and the bullpen, who did not have a good outing on that Sunday game against Toronto.
And Clay Holmes finally let up an earned run since opening day?
Yep, and it took 2 rinky-dink hits to the pitcher's man.
Yeah.
That's
what a streak that was. That's something like you'll never see again, probably. That was insane.
I don't know if I'll never see again, but it's rare.
He had a .28 ERA.
I know. It's at like 0.3 now. It's crazy.
No, I think it's at like 0.6.
No, I think it's at like 0.3.
Oh, because that other run came in. That was just a 1 run, right?
He let up 2 runs. One was on.
Yeah. I just saw the first run. I saw his ERA jump up from like a 2.8 to a 5.9, and then I guess that second run did the extra damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Yankees, the dumbest argument I've been seeing all over Twitter and whatnot is when are they going to beat good teams? All right, well, they've owned the Blue Jays this year, owned them. They've owned the Rays too. Today they're losing. I don't know if the lead will hold. They're now 5-2, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. They've owned the Blue Jays. They've owned the Rays. And you know who has the best record in the league against teams over 500? The Yankees do. So it's just people trying to nitpick at anything they can. They see a 50-win team. They're like, all right, we have to find a weakness. Right now, there is no weakness with this Yankee team right now. Just the Rays are having a good day right now. And that's why they're 5.
You're not going to win every game.
Yeah.
As a baseball team, you're not. There's 162 of them. You play 3-game series, 4-game series. You don't win every game in baseball. I mean, it can be done. You can go on stretches, sweeps, and everything, but it's not like it's the NBA where the good teams always beat up on the bad teams. There's different pitching matchups every day. It's not that type of sport. The worst team in the league can beat the best team in the league, and it's not that much of a surprise sometimes in a 3-game series.
Yeah, and this is not the case of the worst versus the best. Tampa,
I'm not saying that. Just using it as an
Tampa's
example.
not having the most ideal season compared to their past couple of years, but they're still going to be a wild card threat. They're
Mhm.
5 over 500. They dealt with a lot of injuries, so they're doing what they're making do. But this is division games against a good team.
Mhm.
You're not gonna go 100. If you play the Orioles, then you might go 20-0.
That's different.
But Yankees Rays, you're not going 20-0 against the Rays this
Yeah.
year. But they've taken care of the Blue Jays. They've taken care of the Rays, and they're
taking
only
care of the entire division.
yeah, they've taken care of the Orioles, which has been a problem the past 2 years. And then they only had one series against Boston this year, the opening weekend. They won 2 of 3. But not much, not literally. You can't find any complaint, maybe other than Aaron Hicks gets a break for a little bit. I guess Joey Gallo you could complain about. And the main complaint right now has nothing to do with what's on the field is the Aaron Judge contract situation, which
I did.
they're going
see.
into arbitration on Friday.
Yes,
So
it
a
was
lot of
supposed.
people forgot about it. I feel like because winning
Because we're
solves
winning,
everything.
yeah.
It was supposed to be today, I think, and I think
And they moved it Friday.
I think the Yankees were set at 17 million. Judge was set at 21 million. I think I saw that, and then Heyman tweeted 2 hours ago, Aaron Judge arbitration hearing is now set for Friday. No explanation for the change given. So who knows?
It's whatever.
And back on Holmes, he only let one earned run. The other one was
I don't know.
earned. The other one was set to Cole.
Yeah, so one unearned run and one earned run.
Yes, but the ERA didn't move, so it's a 0.55. It's not the
Shouldn't
right.
the ERA move? You let up one earned run.
It moved from 0.28 to 0.55. You said it's a 3.
Oh, yeah, no, because I thought it went from like a 0.2 to 0.3.
Oh,
I didn't know it
0.5.
went 0.2 to
okay.
0.5.
Yeah, it's a 5.5. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, that makes sense. And then that's the lingering, that's the dark cloud that's not lingering over the Yankees. It's the dark cloud that you can kind of like see in the distance. Is there got the Yankee game on right now? And look who they're showing on the bench, who looks like he's ready to fight.
Pinch hit.
It's a tiny cloud in an otherwise like perfectly blue
Yeah.
sky though.
Yeah,
for the Yankees.
yeah.
So it's like you can't really complain all that much. But when you're this good, I mean, no matter how you're performing in a season, you're always going to look for holes. You're always going to look for flaws because there's always room to improve.
Exactly.
And luckily for Yankee fans, there's not many of those holes.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but the Judge situation right now, he might come off the bench. He has the day off. He is now, I think, the new center fielder on this team. I think he's the center fielder now. He's not a right fielder anymore. I think he's locked in at center field, which if that's the case, that gives the Yankees a lot more options at the trade deadline to go left or right field. Because taking a left or right fielder and moving him to center is a tough spot to play in because it's covering the whole field, you know? So if Judge can be your center fielder, it gives them a lot more guys to look at in the trade deadline. You get a left or right fielder opposed to just singularly a center fielder now.
But if I'm the Yankees, I think I'm still trying to get the center fielder over the right and left
Yeah, because
field.
you don't want to.
I don't think
Judge's body's not built to be a consistent center
I'm
fielder.
doubling down what I said last week. I don't like. He can play the position. I'm not saying he can't, but with his injury history, yes, he was very fortunate last year not to be that injured. But he's got to do a lot of running in center field compared to right field, what he's used to. So I think if I'm the Yankees, I'm still looking to get a true center fielder or someone that could play the position every day and put Judge back in right.
And if Hicks continues to hit the way he's been hitting this month, I think he's batting in his last 15 games, so last 2 weeks, let's say.
I think he's batting 300.
He's batting close to 300. And so take that and then take this, that the Yankees love Aaron Hicks. They love him.
Mhm.
Cashman, everyone loves him. He could be he's your center fielder then. And then you look to left field and you try to replace Gallo because Gallo has not shown much still. He's batting 9th. He's getting pinched hit 4. So what's the option at the trade deadline? It's still up in the air. I don't see a move being made. Literally, the move's being made at the trade deadline. They're not making a move unless Gallo or Hicks gets out for 2 months with an injury.
Mhm.
They're not making a move until the trade
Aaron
deadline.
Hicks is batting 321 in June.
Yep. He's been playing very good at the plate. Big hit yesterday.
He's 17 hits.
Yeah,
in June. Not
it's
bad.
a big turnaround. It only took him till June to get it
Yeah.
together, but Well, we talked about, I think it was the last show. He's like on base percentage was surprisingly good despite batting in the low 200s. Now he's up to like in the 230s, 240s area.
He's at 233 right now. He's over 3 today, so that brought it down. He was closer to 240 yesterday after 2 hits, I believe. But on the season, his OPS is only a 646. Let me see what his on base is.
It's a slugging shot. He
Yeah,
he has
no.
he has no pop.
On base is 350, so it's like it's good.
Yeah, he really turned it around because before June he was batting 200.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Flip the switch.
Hicks, you can't bat 240 on the season and not hit for power. Then if
Exactly.
if you're gonna bet
One or the
240,
other.
yeah, you gotta get some power in there.
You got to make it up somewhere.
That was that. I think that he had one, like I think it was 2018. It was his best season with the Yankees. He played. It was really good statistical season. Let me pull it up.
I'm gonna try to get it first.
I'm slacking here.
What are you looking for?
No, not hide majors, hide minors. 2018. It was
248.
Yeah, 248. But he hit 27 home runs, 79 RBIs, 833 on base plus slugging in 137 games.
119 hits.
You take that from an Aaron Hicks, 100%. So if you're going to bat in the 230s, 240s, Aaron Hicks, you got to start hitting for power. If you just keep batting in the 240s, 230s, and we're at the trade deadline, you have no power in your swing, then it's like, okay, you turned it up a little bit, but it's not getting the job done. But I guess we're nitpicking as of now. I guess we can take it because Aaron Hicks is showing life at the plate compared to what he was for the first 2 months of the season. But now the Yankees first and second, one out.
They're going to tie this. I feel it. They're going to tie it.
Stanton up. Stanton's been struggling. He's been struggling a lot.
Just a side note here. I know we were talking about Tampa Bay's ballpark before the show. It's got to be so difficult to track a fly ball with that dome.
With the white roof. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible.
You know, I showed you guys before the show. I was there. We got 1 for 22 in his last 7 games. Stan. He's been
He's down to 250 right now.
Yeah, he was in the 270s when he got back from injury, and now he's in the 250s now.
But that's baseball though. It's a season of slumps, highs and lows.
Yeah,
Judge is also
slow on that one.
Judge is also a little bit of a slump
for compared to what he was doing.
Yeah,
that's
he's still batting in the 300s.
Yeah, you can call it a slump, but yes,
for Judge's standards, he's in a slump right now. But yeah, Stan has 2 strikes. I'll move on to the Mets after this pitch. Oh, another thing, they're showing him right now, the renaissance of Gleyber Torres. That guy, the last 2 years was looked like a bust in the making,
playing well,
a fall from grace, and now he's a perennial all-star. Stanton, nice play. That's gonna be a double play. Stanton slow. Yep. There you go. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Rays are pulling a Blue Jays right now, celebrating like they just won the World Series. Meanwhile, you're 14 games back. But yeah, Gleyber Torres. It was like, oh God, what a fall from this guy. He looked like he was going to be one of the best players in the American League, one of the best players on the Yankees, one of the best players in the league. And then 2020, 2021 comes. Those 2 years were a disaster. And then this year he should make the I don't know if he'll start, but he should make the All-Star team for what's it called? For the American League. He's been that's a renaissance right there. And for a guy who started off on the bench this year, he was the out of the 9 guys that hit, he was number 10 in the lineup this year. I remember he came off the bench that one game against, I forgot who early in the season. He got a walk-off sac fly, and that was like one of his first plate appearances of the season because he was the bench guy. He was not supposed to be the starter, and now look at him. He's playing second base every single game. Every game he's in.
Yeah, we talked about how this infield was crowded. Like, where are you putting everybody? And Torres was the odd man out just because of the slump that he was in over the half season or the third season, whatever it was, the 60-game season, and 2021, which he just had a bad one. But right now, he's batting 263 right now, which he's 0 for 3 today. But
his power numbers are back.
His power numbers are back.
He's batting in the 260s. I mean, that's a world. It's night and day.
I've always had confidence in him. I did, because he had those 2 good first 2 seasons. Yes, he did fell off a little bit, but he's still like, he's definitely showing it this year, and I do like him as a player, so I do think he can turn it around. Like, all the Yankee fans were ready to give up on him after last season, and I in our group chat, I think like Charb found it, and I was like, don't give up on him, because I do think he can be a good. I don't know for a fact, but I just do like him as a player. He should still be good. Maybe he's not going to hit 330 home runs and 100 RBIs every year, but he should still be able to hit, like 270, 280 and put up good numbers.
So going into this season, if I told you two that you would not have Jacob deGrom till probably the end of July, and you would miss Max Scherzer before the All-Star break, Max Scherzer would miss over a month. And then I finished that statement by saying, oh, by the way, you'd be 5.5 games up on first place and the second best team in the league. Would you believe that? No, you probably wouldn't. You're missing the best 2 pitchers in the league are out.
Tyler McGill now is out.
Tyler McGill, and he was struggling. He was out struggling out again.
He was out, came back for like 1 or 2 games, and now he's out again.
Yep.
If you also told us that the Mets have the first ranked average, the first ranked runs, first ranked hits, first in RBIs in all of MLB. I
And
would tell you you're absolutely crazy.
More credit to the Mets here. The Braves won 14 games in a row, and the Mets are still 5.5 up on them. That's just credit to the Mets able to weather that storm, even though they never even faced each other. So it's not like the Mets at the end of that 14-game winning streak, they swept the Braves and that ended the 14. No, they didn't even play each other. So the Mets had no control over the Braves stampede through the National League, and yet they're still sitting 5.5 up. The Phillies had a big win streak as well. They're still 8.5 up on the Phillies. And the Mets schedule, despite all these injuries that they've had, McNeil got hurt the other day. The pitching staff have gotten hurt. And the schedule keeps getting is still difficult. They swept the Marlins. They not swept the Marlins. 3 out of 4 against the Marlins.
Take that.
You take out of 4. You take that. You got the Astros now. The Mets and they took it to the Brewers. Right? They won that Brewers series. Won the Angels series. Injuries aside, tough schedule aside, Braves 14-game winning streak aside, and they're still sitting pretty at the top of the National League.
Yeah, I mean the Mets, I think, have done about as good as you can hope for them to do over the course of this stretch. I think compared to earlier on in the season, they've cooled down just a little bit, but credit to them, they built a really big cushion in the first month or two of the season, which allowed them to weather that storm by the Braves and their own personal team struggles. We got a couple of games with the Astros. We go back to Miami to play the Marlins. 2 more against the Astros before facing off against the Rangers and the Reds, and then the Marlins again. So, I mean, there are clearer skies ahead, I think, in terms of competition. And with the return of Scherzer and DeGrom not looming, but kind of, around
Scherzer might pitch Sunday, which would be great.
So, yeah, Max Scherzer played for the AA Binghamton
Rumble
Ponies. He threw, I believe, 65 pitches in this minor league rehab start. He came out after the game. He says he's healthy. He feels healthy, even went as far as to say that he wants to be in the big leagues. He does not want to be a Rumble Pony. So
I wouldn't either.
It's a classic, classic line from Max Scherzer. But look, he's competitive. He wants to win. He wants to be back with the team. You can't blame him. But at the same time, part of me as a fan wants them to proceed with caution, right? Of course, we want to see him back on the mound on Sunday. If he's not on the mound on Sunday, am I going to be upset? We've been doing this.
I'll be here.
We've been doing this for weeks. Thank you, Jordan. I'll give you a call. I know you'll pick up right away.
I definitely will.
So Scherzer presumably will be back before DeGrom. I don't know if we know the timetable on McGill's return. And then, of course, Jeff McNeil, who exited the game.
I think that was just like hamstring injury / tightness. They said he's like day to day. I think that the X-rays came back negative.
Those are always tricky, though. They make me nervous.
Yeah. But what you said about Scherzer coming back, or that he's coming back before DeGrom, I think we all knew that. When we saw DeGrom go down, and we knew his injuries are always long-lasting, which is unfortunate for someone of his status. But with Scherzer, I believe that what was it? I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I think you mentioned that Scherzer's coming back Sunday. You could take it or leave it. I think that means that we're scarred as Met fans from DeGrom. That's where I was getting at, because we don't want him to come back too soon and re-injure himself. So you're saying
at his age.
Exactly. So you're saying, what is he, 38? So you're saying that, if we don't see him Sunday, that's okay, because that just means he's getting healthier, which is a good thing. And I don't disagree with that.
Mm-hmm.
So like if he's playing Sunday and he's kind of forced back, I'm okay with him waiting for another position to start.
I also think you have to temper expectations with these guys in their return. Max Scherzer maybe a little bit less so, but Jacob DeGrom has not pitched since July of last season.
I think he just threw something today.
He did.
Too, yeah.
He faced 5 live batters for the first time in his rehab start for stress reaction on his right scapula.
Mm-hmm.
He said it went well. But again, by the time he returns, some point next month, it will be over a year's time since he last pitched. So whenever he does pitch, you're not going to get a full outing from him. You have no idea.
Which is fine.
It is fine. But I just think that's why I say we got to temper expectations. When these guys come back, they're not back. They're working back. Is a time period, yes, when they are going to be available to us and on the field for us, but you're not going to get the Jacob DeGrom that was absolutely lights out last season. I mean, that's the hope, of course. And again, like we talked about with the Yankees, it's a long season. So you want to bring these guys back, and you want them to be back for the long haul. You don't want the constant in and out of the rotation type of stuff that we dealt with last year with Jacob, which we've talked about as seemingly being a very mismanaged scenario. So take your time with both of these guys, bring them back when they're ready. You're having a great season from a lot of the guys that were expected to do well last year. You're getting a great season out of guys that have just been brought on this year. I just think that a lot of things are clicking offensively. And so if you can afford to weather the storm for a little bit longer, you take that opportunity.
And what we can cross our fingers with too is that this is a new managerial staff. This is Buck Showalter's staff. So hopefully it's not the same in terms of bringing guys back too soon or mismanaging them with their injuries in that way. So I guess that's where Met fans can cross their fingers and have some hope there that this could be different with handling injuries of players coming back.
I agree.
The DeGrom situation, you have like a sticky situation because one, you're in a great position. You don't want to rush him back. So you don't have to rush him back. You can have
we're doing fine without him.
You can have him take his time and he can come back in the middle of August. But if you do that, he's not getting much reps in before, let's say, the postseason.
Yeah.
And I actually brought this up with the Yankees. Remember those like 2-year span, 3-year span where the Yankees had like one injury after another and they had the randoms come in and they were winning 100 games. And then in the playoffs, like closer and closer to the playoffs, the regulars were coming back. And I said, yeah, it's all great and a good story for the randoms to come in. But when the regulars come back, they're coming back rusty. They're not getting reps in and they're getting thrown into the playoffs.
Even though they have the status of their names.
But you're getting thrown right into the most competitive baseball of October.
There's a chance
with no reps and you come in cold. So if you wait, you can afford to let DeGrom chill out and let him wait to mid-August, let's say. But there's a possibility of running the risk he gets thrown in to the Wolves into October and he only has 6 starts going into October into the most competitive baseball of the season.
It's a very delicate decision.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's anybody that can handle it, you would
DeGrom.
hope it's Jacob DeGrom. Yes, but I 100% see what you're saying. But I don't think me or Joe are saying, wait to the longest amount of time to bring him back. Just don't make the same mistake that we've seen multiple times last season and bring him back too early when he's not ready, just because you feel like you have to force him out.
You don't want another Syndergaard where, like, what was it, like last season or the year before that? He was hurt for a while, came back, and then was out again, like just like that.
Yeah,
like Severino did the same thing.
Well, DeGrom did the same thing last year.
Yeah.
DeGrom did it twice last year. He came back, pitched great when he came back, but just something was off. And that happened twice last year, and then we never saw him again.
Did he pitch during spring training at all, or he hasn't pitched at all?
No, he didn't. I think he was working out during spring training, but I don't think he played a game, especially because it was shortened. So I want to say no, but I don't know for a fact.
Does Francisco Lindor concern you with
way?
His contract being as monstrous as it is? He's not playing up to the contract.
I think saying he's not playing up to the contract is a little unfair because I think it's nearly impossible to live up to that contract consistently. Like he would have to be an all-star every single season.
That's an expectation Francisco Lindor should have. Aaron Judge has the expectation to be an all-star every year.
I get that.
Mike Trout does. Bryce
I get
Harper
that. But as a fan, again, it's not my money. It's not. And so it doesn't bother me all that much.
It doesn't bother you that like a guy that you got and you paid a high premium to be one of the best players in the league.
And right now,
not even close to that.
And right now he's contributing to winning baseball. And so that's what I want.
I think he's part of winning baseball. Well, I don't know.
Contributing to winning baseball.
No,
that's
not the same.
How is
part of winning baseball and contributing. He's not contributing that much.
How is that not the same?
Jeff McNeil's contributing. Marte's contributing. Nimmo, Kana, they're all contributing.
Where does he rank in RBIs, Francisco?
RBIs is his only positive stat. His home run stat isn't good. His batting average, on base slugging, and OPS is not good.
He is contributing to winning baseball.
He's part of winning baseball. That's two different things.
Semantics.
I don't think he's I don't think he's a gigantic part of this team. He is not as big a part right now as McNeil, Alonso, Marte, Nimmo, and Kana are. He's not.
I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he is contributing to winning baseball, and he is.
He's part of the team. Like right now, I don't want to use like Gallo or Hicks because he's a lot better than Gallo and Hicks right now.
Like
I'm trying to think of an example from the Yankees.
He's batting 242.
You're not paying him about 242.
But he's not expected to hit 242. But this is why I said the expectations in relation to that contract were unrealistic from the start.
No, they're not unrealistic.
I think
They're
were.
not.
I don't even
You
want
give
to.
Fernando Tatis this contract to play like he has this whole career. You give Acuna his contract that he has, and he is playing Acuna the way he's supposed to. And so is Bryce Harper, and so is Manny Machado.
If Francisco Lindor is expected to be the guy on the team, which right now he's not, he doesn't need to be, then maybe it looks a little bit worse.
He's expected to be the guy. He's expected to be not Mike. Maybe not. No one's Mike Trout. I should get back. He's expected to be Manny Machado and living up to Manny Machado's contract.
I don't think many
Tatis'
Met fans
contract.
would look at this season and the way he's performing and say that they're upset with any of this.
I know Lindor's in the background right now. You're not worried about that at all. I'm just saying I would want a lot more from Lindor.
Last year, fans
If
are always
things
going to
start
fans
going
are always
south,
going to want
yeah.
more. He can always be better. He can always play better. And this was a bigger deal last season in his first year with the team, and you saw he significantly underperformed, and fans were upset. But circumstances with the New York Mets were different last year. We have a much more well-oiled machine, well-rounded team this year. We filled a lot of holes in the offseason. We got a lot of guys that are contributing. You mentioned Starling Marte, Eduardo Escobar, Pete Alonso having another great season.
That's probably slumping.
Mark
He got a hit the other day.
Didn't you mention him, though? I think you mentioned
I did not. I skipped him because I knew he was slumping.
Okay.
I know he got a big hit the other day.
He
against the
was
Marlins.
slumping. I think he's trending in a different direction now. But, I mean, he hit for the cycle. He's been driving in runs.
Before the slump.
No. That was
during
I'm
the slump.
I'm pretty sure he was like one.
That
going
was
into
what
yesterday. He was like
turned the
one for
tide
his
a
last
little bit.
22.
He's been in a slump. He hit the cycle, got a little hot, and kind of
Yeah.
went back cold again.
But
He's been on and off this year.
Yes.
But my point is, Francisco Lindor, yes, you're paying him a lot of money that would imply he is supposed to be the guy. But when you have an owner like Steve Cohen, who's willing to pay whatever it takes to get guys on his team, the expectations, they do change a little bit. That's just the nature of the business. It kind of is.
George Steinbrenner spent a lot of money. A-Rod's expectations were
George
still...
Steinbrenner and the Yankees of old are not.
No, I'm telling you, I'm giving you
the 2022 New York Mets.
I'm giving you an example of an owner that spends a lot of money that has a really good team on the field.
Okay.
George Steinbrenner's Yankees forever. A-Rod was paid a lot of money by an owner who spent a lot of money. His expectations was win the MVP 3 times in your career and carry us in 2009. That's his expectations.
My point, the thing that I have a problem with is you telling me that saying that Francisco Lindor is contributing to winning baseball is not a true statement. It absolutely is.
He
is a part of.
He's just there for me right now.
I agree. I agree that with last year and so far this season, he is underperforming a little bit. But this year, he is slightly better, and I know that's not saying much, but the average is definitely not where you want it. You want it in 270s, 280s, which he was hitting in the beginning of the season, but that's the beginning of the season.
But you can't tell me that a guy who's 4th ranked in RBIs in the entire league is not contributing to winning baseball. For the Mets. That's impossible.
Don't get sold on the RBI. Yeah, his RBIs are good, but everything else is not.
But that's fine.
That's where I'm siding with Joe a little bit too. The average is down. That 100% needs to come up. That's the area that's most concerning. But the RBIs, he's like Joe said, he's tied for 4th in the league. He's on pace for 100 RBIs on the season as it stands right now.
He already has.
If he just hit 2 home runs last week, I believe. If he hits a couple more, he'll be on pace for close to 30 home runs. So if you're, I understand it's ifs, ands, or buts, but he can do it. I'm just saying. So this guy, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could be a 30 home run, 100 RBI player.
No, it's not. It's not out of the realm. He should be a 30 home run, 80 RBI guy.
That's a different conversation. He should be that, yes. But I'm saying right now he could be on pace for that season right now. The Francisco Lindor we're talking about right now. So if he can do that, if he can stay on pace and get close to 30 home runs, get the 100 RBIs, and hopefully if that average stays down to 240, I'm going to say it's still a little concerning. But if he can get that average up, you're asking if I'm concerned. Yes, I'm a little concerned right now, but over long term, I do believe he can figure it out. He was a great player for Cleveland,
but he's not been a great player for the Mets.
He hasn't, but it's only a year and a half.
His last month, he's batting 250 with 5 home runs, 26 RBIs his last month. Last 2 weeks,
forget his numbers though. He's a leader on this team. That point
You're not
blank.
paying $300 million to be a leader.
It's too soon.
But you asked if we were like bothered by.
I would
unhappy.
be in the back of my mind like this guy needs to step it up.
I'm with him there.
Look,
but am I fully concerned?
I'm not hitting the
He
panic button
is
or nailing his coffin.
he's never going to shine bright enough for anybody in New York, especially you.
No.
He's never going to.
I mean, look what Aaron Judge is doing right now. Look what Stanton did last year. They're shot. Look at Garrett Cole's been doing. Look at today. Look at Nestor Cortez is doing.
He's not going to do what Aaron Judge does. He's a different player than Aaron.
No, he's
Judge.
not going to hit 55 home runs, but he's supposed to be like he's supposed to hit 25, 80 RBIs and bat near 300. And play great fielding.
Why don't we just we've said
fielding never wavers.
We've said multiple times over the course of the show it's a long season. Why don't we let the season play out? Why are we talking? Why is this an issue?
You can talk about it.
You can because he had a terrible year last year, and he's off to RBI wise great. Everything else on the plate is not there right now.
You can't say he's having a bad season. What are you trying to say?
He's not having a bad season. He's not having a Francisco Lindor season that you expect to have him.
He's never going to be good enough, though. He's never going to be good enough based on the contract, which is why I say it's unrealistic to expect.
No, Joe, that's a terrible mentality. That's not true at all. So anytime you sign a big name, so Max Scherzer, you look at the contract you just gave to Max Scherzer, you can say he's never going to live up to that contract. He's living up to it right now. He might be hurt. Before he got hurt, he was living up to that contract.
I disagree with you.
So anytime anyone signs a big contract, they'll never live up to it.
People don't live up to their contracts all the time across all the major sports. It doesn't mean that they cannot contribute to winning baseball.
Okay, but
that's my argument. That's what I'm bothered by.
Yes, he's contributing. I disagree with Jordan there a little bit. Can he be contributing more? 100%. He's shown over the course of his career that
he could be contributing more.
Better than the player
Everybody
that he is right now.
Could be contributing more. Pete Alonso could be playing better. Aaron Judge could be playing better. You could always squeeze more juice out of every single one of these guys.
Alonso and Aaron Judge are doing great.
You're nitpicking by telling me that me saying he's contributing to winning baseball is not accurate. But what you said, which was he's part of winning baseball. I
think he's just part.
That's nitpicking. No,
you're just two different things.
You're rephrasing it.
Contributing is Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Kana, Nimmo, Marte. Lindor is some games he's there, majority of the games he's not. He's just part. Like Thomas Nido is not contributing to the team. He's just part of the ride. And of course, Lindor's doing a lot more than Nido.
Okay,
but I'm just using it as an analogy. Yeah, obviously Nido and Lindor are not on the same way. Aaron Judge just tied the game, I think. Did he just miss it? He just missed it. Oh, my God. It would have been a pinch hit. Oh, he just missed it. Rough. They lose by 1. Oh, that sucked. This guy's
I'm happy about that, though, because I had a bench him in fantasy, and I would have been pissed if he got a home run on the bench.
Oh, my God. He just on the first pitch, no less. The first pitch. I'm just saying, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm expecting a little bit more from this guy. And I think that take about guys that get big contracts is completely wrong.
I'm not disagreeing with you, though. I don't disagree with that.
Where I agree with Joe, where he's contributing, I think the RBI numbers, I think you're taking too much with a grain of salt, because that shows that he's getting clutch hits. He's getting hits with guys on. He's driving guys in. So I do think he's contributing a little more than you think, Jordan. Yes, it needs to be more. Yes, it's concerning, I still feel. But he is contributing right now. It's not where we want it to be, but he is contributing in his own way.
All right, fine. He has some contributions. I'll take that one. I'll take the loss on that one. But
it's not taking a loss.
I'll take on the argument. I'll put that one to rest. But to say that guys will never live up to their big contracts, or you don't expect him to live up to that contract,
I'm not jumping on that.
Look at everyone in this league right now that has a fat contract, and they're all playing great right now. The Machados, the Trouts, the Harpers. Tatis was, but he got hurt. It's in every league. Connor McDavid in hockey, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner. I can go through a bunch of hockey players. Aaron Donald before he got the fat extension. Trying to think of some quarterbacks as well. I can probably bank off some quarterbacks that are living up to Aaron Rodgers. A lot of guys live up to their fat contracts, and you're supposed to live up to your fat contracts. Yes, and Lindor right now is not. He's contributing, sure. But is he living up to his contract?
Yes. Yeah.
No, he's not.
He's not living up to his contract.
Or the hype, or the expectations.
Yes. But am I concerned? Am I hitting the panic button? No.
I'm not either.
Maybe last year a little more because we needed him more. This year we don't need him as much. So if anything that helps him a little bit more, but that still doesn't excuse it. He's still
very fortunate this year that the Mets are playing fantastic, and you have a lot of guys. You have more than everyone in the lineup. There's a lot of guys in the lineup that are contributing.
If
right
anything,
now.
I would have liked to see, since the pressure is more off of
Mhm.
him, his numbers even get a little higher with there. But there's still time. We still have more than a half a season. He can get that average up. That's not out of the
Still
realm
get
of
that up, but
possibility.
he hasn't
And that's what I'm
shown
trying
you-
to say to you is he can hit 25,
He can,
30
but
home runs.
I'm
He
living
can
in
hit
what I've
100.
seen the past season and 3 months.
I
I'm
know
not
that.
living in the if, ands, or buts.
I know that, but we're saying Aaron Judge is on pace to hit 60 home runs, so I can say that
'cause
Lindor's on pace to hit 100 RBI.
I could say Aaron Judge is on pace to 60 home runs because he's shown he can hit a lot of home runs, and he's a great player. Lindor has not shown me at all in a Mets uniform. He is the player he was in
I
Cleveland.
get that too. But
It's been a year and a half.
I'm really making that argument for right now more than later, because right now he is on pace for 100 RBIs, can hit 25 to 30 home runs right now.
Which is
So
exactly
that-
why I want to
so
pump
that-
the brakes
so
on
those-
this conversation.
Those numbers are where you kind of want to see them be, but the average is the biggest.
The
concerning
average, the
part.
slugging, the
Yeah.
on base, the OPS are all not there. All the
70
big
games.
percentage.
The OPS is slightly
It's
low.
738. That's not what you
800's
want. And
good,
again,
I know.
this is $300 million. For
I know.
If this was Jeff McNeil,
No, I
you're
get-
like, great. If this is Brandon Nimmo, great.
Yeah.
This is Francisco Lindor.
But still, if we're just gonna strip it down, and a good baseball player hits 800
You're not,
OPS.
you're not paying him to be good. You're paying him
I
to
get
be
okay,
great.
yeah. When you throw the contract in, I agree, but just
And not even the expectations.
Yeah.
And his career
I know.
before the Mets.
I know.
You want him to be great.
I'm not fully.
And right now you
disagreeing
don't.
with
Right now you don't really need him to be great. But I'm just
Yeah.
bringing it up in
Yeah.
the back of my mind as a Mets
No,
fan.
it's something
I'd be like,
It's something that can be brought up. I
right
agree
now in
with
the
you.
back of my mind, Yankees, they just lost. Yankees are playing great. Back of my mind right now is like, Stanton's slumping a little bit. You just hit
Mhm.
into a double play in the 8th inning. He's slumping a little bit. Hopefully he can get out of that. But want to know why I'm more hopeful he can get out of that than Lindor? Because Stanton's shown in a Yankee uniform he could be great. Lindor, I've still yet to see the greatness from Francisco Lindor in a Met uniform. It's a shame we had to get to this because the Mets are
But it's
so great.
It's a year and a half into a 10-year contract, so hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully-
he's
I'm saying
he's
hope,
got a
I'm
lot
not-
of leeway.
I know. So hopefully that changes over the course of the rest of this season, 1 and 2 years after
Mhm.
that. That's all we can say right now.
Before we go in the news and notes, though, we'll stick with baseball for now. The All-Star ballot came out for the first round of the vote. So who's in the lead in the voting department in each position for each league? I'll start with the National League because we're talking about the Mets. I really don't see any issues from the most part. Alonso's behind Goldschmidt. Alonso's playing great, but I mean Goldschmidt's on another level right now.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do about that? Second base, Jazz Chisholm has a case. The average isn't there, but everything else is there for Jazz Chisholm. Power numbers, slugging.
He's got power for a tiny guy.
Yeah, he's a slender man. But here's where the fan votes. The fan voting. They do this in
It's
every
terrible.
league. It's just bad. Ozzie Albies is ahead of Jeff McNeil. Ozzie Albies is hurt and was not playing good when he was healthy,
All
and
about
Jeff
names.
McNeil's playing fantastic. Jeff McNeil's batting average is off the charts. Like he's getting back to what was it? Was it 2019? Jeff McNeil.
Yeah, 2019 and 2020 was a shortened year. So, but yes, 2019
Yeah.
Jeff McNeil hit 330, 320 around there, and he's at 327 right now, which is great.
And this is where the fan votes where they stuff the ballot box. Jeff McNeil is third among second basemen. Now it gets worse.
Criminal.
Yeah. Now it gtes worse when you go to the American League. The Toronto Blue Jays are representing in every single category. First base, Vlad Guerrero is dominating. He's having a solid year, but Ty France is by far the best statistical first baseman in the American League, and he's not even close to Vlad Guerrero. Vlad Guerrero's at 947,000. Second base, Altuve's in the lead. Fine. You know who's second?
Yeah.
Santiago Espinal is second. The second baseman for the Blue Jays. Third base, it's Devers and Ramirez. That's going to be, those two can battle it out. Right?
That's crazy that one of those guys is going to lose.
Yeah, one of those guys.
third
One of
base.
those guys is not going to be the starter.
Yeah.
That sucks. They're the two the best players in the AL.
Mhm.
Then we go to shortstop. First two guys I think of is Xander Bogaerts and Tim Anderson. But because of the fan vote,
Bogarts
it's
isn't
about-
even a
Yo,
question.
Canada is going crazy.
yep, it's the Blue Jay, it's the Toronto fans, and we've seen it firsthand with the Maple
Credit
Leaf
to them,
fans.
I guess.
Yeah, we've
but
seen it with the Maple Leaf fans, how ridiculous the Toronto fans can get. Bo Bichette, who's not having a good start to his season, is in first place for the shortstops. And then the outfielders is George Springer's in third. Taylor Ward's in fifth. And then out of the top 10 outfielders in voting, 3, 7, and 8 are all Blue Jays because the fan vote is ridiculous. It's all about which fan base feels like stuff in the ballot box. And you got the best players that aren't in it right now. You got Taylor Ward, that's not going to be a starter right now. Buxton, that's not going to be a starter right now because George Springer's sitting at 3. You might not have Tim Anderson or Bogart starting because you have Bo Bichette at 1 right now. You have Santiago Espinal in 2nd, and now at catcher spot, I don't have a problem with Alejandro Kirk being the starting catcher because he's having a good season, but 1 million votes for Alejandro Kirk. 1 million votes in the first round. The All-Star, it shouldn't be the fan vote. It's fun to get the fans involved. It's a good marketing and PR thing, but honestly, it gets a little ridiculous. The Blue Jay players are just dominating, and if these players, if they're so great, why are they 12 games back? Why are they battling for their lives in a wild card spot right now?
Not only that, why can you vote 5 times a day?
5 times a day. Yeah.
You can get on your phone, vote the same vote 5 times a day, and in the next 24-hour span, you can do it again. You can do it again. So they're just spamming it. They're spamming it and getting their way for it.
They want more traffic on the site so they could charge more for their ads.
That's what it is.
It's
There's a reason for everything, but it's just ridiculous.
We see the fan vote in hockey. It reminds me back years ago, probably like sometime after 2010, probably like 2012. Zegmas Gregerson. I know he's one of Joe's favorite players. I'm definitely pronouncing that name wrong. He's still on the Sabres to this day. He's nothing great. He's not anything like a good. He's nothing. He's
nothing crazy.
He's a depth player on the Sabres. He was dominating he was dominating the All-Star votes one year because I'm pretty sure he's from Latvia.
Yep.
Yeah, he's from Latvia, so all the Latvians stuffed the ballot box and got him in the All-Star game.
Who was that
John
guy?
Scott.
Yep.
But that was fun though.
Yeah,
took the words right out of my mouth.
Is it worth the fan vote could be like a fun thing where you get John Scott and it's a great moment, but that's once in a blue moon. You don't have that all the time.
It has to play a smaller role in.
I like the fan vote, like the last guy in vote.
Yes.
That fine.
Yes.
But
yeah, you can
to get the starters, you're gonna have the Blue Jays all over the field.
I was thinking today. Now, I think we mentioned this last show because your dad asked what All-Star game was the best or whatever, and I said that like football. I'm not talking about which game's the best, but just football, the Pro Bowls after the year. So you let these players have a full season, and then you vote them in, and everyone's pretty much deserved of where they are. With all the other sports, it's in the middle of the season, so guys could have a good first half. I mean, it's more for baseball too because it's double the amount of games, but guys can have a good first half and then totally crap the bed, like we saw last year with the Mets. Taijuan Walker made it, and he was not an All-Star by the end of the year. He wasn't. First half, yes. Second half, no. Hockey and basketball is a little different. Those guys usually stick because it's a shorter season, and by the first half, it's usually a good sample size. But I was thinking with baseball, can this voting be like maybe like a nominee? Let's say fans vote and they nominate guys, and then maybe like they play the game, and I know it's kind of stupid, but like I'm just trying to think of a way to fix this.
What are you talking about?
I'm trying to think of a way to fix this, and I don't know how great this could be. But let's just say we vote right now. They want the fans to stay in voting. Can we vote and nominate guys to be a possible All-Star? Let them play a game. Let the nominees play a game, and then at the end of the year, the writers and everyone else votes in the guys who are deserving by the end of the season.
Like the first team MLB?
Something like that. I don't know. I don't really know where 100% where I'm going with this, but I'm just trying to think of a way.
I'm lost.
I'm just trying to think of a way where the writers and whoever else that's important can get involved, and at the end of the season, vote who were All-Stars.
Is there like a first team MLB? Do they have like that with
I'm not sure.
Like football does it?
I'm not sure.
Football's a lot bigger deal.
Yeah.
I know hockey had like a.
But if anything, football doesn't need it because the game's at the end.
So like,
I'm talking about like the first all-pro team.
Well, NBA does like first team, second team, third team.
I like that. Yeah.
And that stuff actually directly affects like the contracts that guys can get. A lot of times.
So that gets weighted more than an All-Star.
Does this happen in baseball? Like if you make an All-Star team, does that affect the money that you can earn in the future? I feel like it probably does. They probably have things built into their contract.
It's on your resume as a baseball player.
Right, but I'm just talking about like this could screw people out of money who are deserving.
And an arbitration contract. But hey, because it's a debate, like it's the owner, it's the GM against the player. The player can be like, I'm a 5-timer All-Star.
Yeah,
That
and
helps me out.
You can't go in and say like I should have been a 2-time All-Star, but the votes didn't go my way. Like you can't say that.
Yeah.
And that's
You're
my
either an
point.
All-Star or you're
But
not.
that's my point, to get like finalize the All-Star list at the end of the season. I don't know how it can be done, but just trying to make it more fair.
I just think that
because when you got loopholes like this, when you got fan bases spamming and stuffing the ballots, it's like
I think
it's not fair.
I think that the votes should involve writers, peers,
100%.
fans, and you put all those numbers together. But every vote that you receive from a fan, like counts a little bit less. Like
it
takes
make
up
it
a
smaller
smaller
percentage.
percentage. So like it's included, and it's a factor, but it's not the end all be all.
Yeah.
That's probably
I'm fine
the
with
solution.
that too. However you can make the fan vote not as important as it is now.
I'm voting right now.
How many Yankees
you can do a write-in. Is there anyone you want to write in?
No, but it's got to be. I tried to write in Tim Tebow as a joke before. You can't do it, so it's got to be like. I just tried to see if it was possible. So like you gotta. It's got to be someone on their list too. You can't just write it in. Like you can't write Jordan DeLuciano.
Everyone would take that.
I thought I had a chance.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
Really good
I tried.
What did I pick? What I always pick?
Yeah,
I always pick
see.
Devers.
Yes,
I always pick Devers as my. Right now, like when I vote, I do for the American League. I pick Rizzo, but it really should be Ty France. But second base.
But you're part of the problem.
But I'm not stuffing the
I
ballot
know,
box.
I know.
This is the second time I've ever voted. Yeah, like I threw in like the first day it came open, I threw in my votes, and then I'm back here today.
You didn't know you could vote 4 more times.
Yeah,
that day.
I didn't. Yeah, you told me that today. Like you texted the group, you can vote 5 times. I'm like, wait, you can vote 5 times?
It says at the bottom.
I didn't know
you
that.
can vote 5 times in a 24-hour span. So you can vote 30, 40, 50 times, however long they allow it, however many weeks they allow it, days, whatever it is.
You know, I did Rizzo, Glaber, Devers, Bogarts, and then Ward. I do Ward, Trout, and Judge, and then DH Alvarez. So my bias doesn't really stick out there. I got 2 Red Sox in there, and then I don't even have Stanton in there, which Stanton's falling off.
You could vote all Mets if you want. I mean, like I can vote all Mets. You could vote all Yankees.
Just don't stuff the ballot box like.
You can't control
like
how many
Blue
people
Jays.
do it though. That's the problem.
Just don't be an annoying fan like the Toronto fan base.
I don't know how they were able to gather that much traction and get everyone everyone to vote like that. That's
the mail-in vote.
I guess you can give them some credit though, because that's a lot to get whatever traction they're doing, however they're promoting it.
They thought the Blue Jays fans, if they have the same mindset as the Leafs fans, which they probably do, they're Toronto fans, they think their team's amazing because of last year, and their expectations from many was that they're going to win the AL East and maybe go to the World Series. And right now they're 12 games back, so they're only saving graces. Let's get all of our great overrated players into the All-Star game.
It's blind loyalty and it's ignorance, right? Like a lot of people, you could call yourself a baseball fan, but you might not know who truly is the most deserving at their position, right? Like as a Mets fan, if I didn't know about Paul Goldschmidt, I might go, wow, well, you know what? Pete Alonso, he should be the guy. And he's making a great case to be the guy. But Paul Goldschmidt is playing better than him. So like you have fans that would do that for the guys on their team. And it might not be as close as Pete Alonso and Paul Goldschmidt.
Just
but
call the whole fan base ignorant then, Joe.
Wait, what?
No, the whole
I'm saying that's what a lot of fans are. A lot of fans don't know the baseball landscape.
But if I'm being honest, I'm not bashing them that hard for doing what they're doing. MLB
They're taking advantage of
MLB's allowing this system to work, and they're just taking advantage of it. I think anyone would. Like I just said, if Jordan voted for all Yankees, how am I going to argue with that? I'm going to vote for all Mets because I want to see a Met in the All-Star game.
You know, they want to see their Blue Jays in the All-Star game. It's just a bad look, and it's dumb.
It says in the top of the website, it says new in 2022, your phase 1 votes have more impact than ever. So that implies that there's more phases to it, which I don't understand. But then it says
we just finished phase 1?
I don't know. But then it says the player with the most votes per league will automatically win the starting spot at their position. So that implies that there's no phase 2. I'm very confused.
So this is it.
I'm very confused.
So the first phase is all voted on by the fans. So the fans will vote on every starter plus 2 additional outfielders and the DH. And then in phase 2, pitchers and reserves are selected by a player's ballot. And then finally, the last 6 spots on each team are filled by the commissioner's office. 4 will be pitchers and 2 will be position players on each side. It should be like
the other way
flipped.
around. I was
It
literally
should
just
be
gonna
the
say that.
opposite.
Yeah.
The commissioner's office should be the ones that
To
decide
vote
the
in the
starters,
Yeah.
and then maybe you let the fans
I
pick
think
the reserves.
if you did the fans reserves, you're gonna get a lot of John Scott situations. You're gonna get
So then
like
just don't
you're
have the
gonna get
fans at all.
You're gonna get like
So then
Luis
just-
Guillorme into the All-Star game.
But that's better than getting a guy like a starter that's
Like
undeserving.
Bo Bichette starting right now.
Right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say Luis
right?
Guillorme as a reserve is better than Bo Bichette being a starter
That's
over
fair.
somebody else?
That's fair.
You know what the best way to handle this is the fans don't vote at all.
I know, right? That's the
But,
whole
you,
thing.
that's the best way
but
to
you
handle it.
need it. That is literally fan service. You have to make them feel as if they are part
as
of
a
the
fan,
process.
As a fan, I'd be fine not voting. I'd be fine not placing a vote.
you
That's
would,
just me.
you would, but baseball
I know.
has
I
to-
get it.
baseball
it.
has to try to find ways to do this to keep the sport alive.
I know.
And they
I,
need
I
to
see why
involve
they're
fans.
doing it, but
I-
it just
they have
it's a
to.
bad look because you're gonna have all these potentially all the Blue Jays players in the All-Star game. And
Whoa,
when-
7-0. Shoot.
Yeah, okay.
It
Wait,
doesn't have to be a bad look though. If they refine it, it can be perfect.
I know. Yeah, there's a way to.
Do
Yeah,
you see the top of the page? I'm so lost. It says phase 1, June 8th to June 30th, which is the phase that we're apparently in now. Help your favorites advance. Finals, July 5th to the 8th. Vote for the starters.
Yeah, so this fan voting is broken down into like different periods of time, almost like a bracket system. So I think the options that you see available on the ballot right now will be lesser come the second phase. And then you're going to have to vote out of a lesser
I
player
guess
pool.
we'll see.
Also,
I guess
like
we'll
the
see.
top 5 or top 4 second basemen go into the next round, and it's like head to head.
So it's going to start
Alonso's
to
just at a home run.
it's going to start to that was a blast.
It was a
Jesus.
blast.
It's going to start
Too
to
bad we need
whittle
6
down.
more.
It's going to eventually whittle down to like
Mhm.
a lesser
So
number of players.
maybe like let's say the shortstops is Bichette, Bogarts, Anderson. Let's say Kiner Falefa. I don't even know who's fourth. Then those 4 will move on. Then I think it will even out, and
because then the numbers should be different, right? Like hopefully, if Bo Bichette continues to kind of like have a subpar season, and the
but
other guys,
even if it just stays the same, and Bogarts gets first place to go into the round of 4, I think then it will even out, and the votes will then be more towards.
yeah,
I think once we get to that bracket we were saying,
Right.
let's say we get the top 4 in each position. Let's say Bichette is first, the top vote getter at shortstop. When it gets down to him, Anderson, Kiner Falefa, and
Yeah.
Bogarts, I think it'll be a battle between like Anderson and Bogarts. I
Yeah.
think then the fan vote, the fan vote would then even out. I think.
you would like.
We
to
can
think.
only
I would
hope.
like
we
to
can only hope.
Yeah, I would like to think. But and then hockey, I think does it the right way. Me and Ray we're trying to explain this to each other. There's 4 divisions in hockey. The only fan vote is the fans vote for the one captain to represent each division. So let's say the Metropolitan, they all vote who's going to be the captain to represent the Metropolitan. Sidney Crosby. They all vote Sidney Crosby. Then the league picks the rest of the team. So the fans only have a say in one player for each division instead of voting on the whole team, where you'll get a bunch of randos or you'll get 5 guys from the Penguins.
So it can be done.
Can be done. All right. So now this would be the latest time we ever go to the news and notes. We're almost at the hour
Yeah,
mark.
we got to
Wow.
speed this up.
Yeah. So Joe, don't rush.
Hey, it's baseball season.
No, I
Yeah.
won't. I won't rush. But
We've
we'll
done an hour 20-minute shows before. So
we'll breeze over this because I feel like it's worth talking about. It's,
Knock
it's
yourself
pretty
out, Joe.
fun. So yeah, over the course of it's not even really the last week. I think both of these happened yesterday. Couple of players, former players, came out, said some things that I think are worth talking about. We're going to start with Steelers wideout Chase Claypool. Jordan, I know you're all too familiar with Chase. This guy, if I had a tenth of his confidence, I would rule the world. He chimed in on the best receiver in the NFL conversation, claiming that he himself is one of the top 3 receivers in all of football. I think any casual football fan knows that this is not the case. It could be argued that he is the 3rd best on his team at times. Maybe more, not so much this season, but he's a fine player, but top 3 is an absolute exaggeration. Just to put some things into perspective, Claypool had 59 receptions last season. It was 52 behind 3rd place Tyreek Hill. He had 860 receiving yards. That was just 756 yards behind 3rd place Devontae Adams. And then he had a whopping 2 touchdowns on the year, which was just 11 behind 3rd place Jamar Chase. So if he considers himself 3rd best, he's got a lot of, making up to do in terms of his career numbers and even last season's numbers. But I mean, look, credit to him. I feel like in this league, in any league, you have to think that you're the best. Every single time you step on the field, every single time you step on the court, you have to think that you're the best. Otherwise, you're going to get eaten alive. So I credit his confidence. I don't agree by any means with it, but I mean, credit to him for
that's the point
that
right
way.
there. That's the point right there. All he had to do was say, I think I can be a top 3, a top 5. All he had to do was add, I think I can.
I'm on my way.
I believe in myself
Yeah.
to one day be a top 5, top 10, whatever wide receiver in the league. But for him to just flat out say, I am the top third wide receiver in the league with like his small sample size alone.
He's
like,
not even top like 25.
even if he had better seasons, you still need to see more.
Even after his great rookie year, he wasn't the top 3.
What did he have in his rookie year? 10 touchdowns?
Yeah, he had
9.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think 9 or maybe 10.
I thought he hit double digits.
But
My dad took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, when you guys are done, Claypool needs to learn how to get the ball to the ref so we can clock
Yeah.
the clock. You know,
Oh,
that's the first.
But
thing
that's
you
why
gotta
this
do.
that's why this quote is a little unsurprising. Like this is who this guy is.
It could be another Juju on our hands.
Maybe.
It's been shoe star.
Moving on, Red Sox legend Manny Ramirez made a brief appearance in the booth Monday night during the Red Sox-Tigers game. Short-lived. I think he only spoke for about half an inning or so, but he still found a way to make headlines. The legendary outfielder argued that playing in certain markets can accentuate a player's achievements, and he used Derek Jeter as an example, stating, quote, "You got to understand this. If you haven't played in Boston and New York, you're not in the big leagues. It's like if you put Jeter in Kansas City in those years, he was just a regular player." Now, social media, the media in general, took this quote, used it as their headline, made a lot of people think that Manny Ramirez was throwing shade at Derek Jeter. But if you really dive into the story and you read further about what he said, he followed that up with, to be honest with you, when I was with Cleveland, I was playing and I was a good player. But when I came to Boston, I got better because the fans, they will let you know that you weren't playing right. They push you. So he's actually giving credit in a way to the New York fan base
And how
for almost
Jeter-
making Jeter better. He's not taking away anything from Derek Jeter.
No, I see what he's doing. Yeah.
He's just saying, like, look, when you're in this market, you're expected to live up to a certain expectation.
Mm-hmm.
And the fans, the city, it brought the best out of Derek Jeter.
Yeah, no, I see that.
I think he's just also talking about being a household name. Maybe not even his play on the field, like how he's playing well.
That's possible too.
I think he could be talking about just his name. Like you can be Derek Jeter on the Royals, like Salvador Perez is on the Royals. Like everyone knows him as a really good catcher, but
if he was
it
on
ends.
the Yankees his whole career,
Yeah.
Look, if he was on the Yankees his whole career, he would have got the same traction as what's his name, Gary Sanchez, but
Jorge Posada.
but even better, but
Yeah.
he's an actual better player. But everyone knew Gary Sanchez's name because he was on the Yankees.
And it's not just the city, it's the team. Because look, most baseball fans know just how great Mike Trout is, but he plays for the Angels. If Mike Trout played for the Dodgers, I think things would be completely different. Same thing is true if he played for the Yankees or he played for the Mets. So it's so circumstantial. But it frustrates me that coming into the night, before I did any more further research on this quote, I was like, man, like, why did Manny Ramirez say that about like Jeter? How are you going to say that Jeter in Kansas City would be a regular player? It's like, why? What's the point, right?
Mhm.
But then you read further and you say, well, no, all of these people on Twitter and on all these sports websites, they just take the piece that makes you think something completely
The
incorrect.
headline.
Gets journalism 101
It is.
nowadays.
It is,
Everyone
unfortunately.
takes everything out of context and they take
Yeah.
snippets of sentences
Mhm.
and they run with it.
So yeah, I mean that's pretty much our news and notes. Couple quotes from
you
you
had
got
more.
something?
I thought you had more.
No, I don't know. I thought we were moving on to basketball.
I thought you had more.
No, I don't have anything.
I thought you had more. Well,
No.
anyway.
Well, we can throw a quick one with Shesterkin winning the.
Oh yeah, the vet.
Take
and
it
I
away.
want- and I wanted to talk hockey.
Yeah.
Take it away.
I thought you were talking to Ringle. Ringle brought it
Well,
up.
whoever wants to take it away.
We can
That's all yours.
let Jordan take it
Okay,
away.
sure. Well, Shesterkin, rightfully so, and obviously so, won the Vezina today at the NHL Awards. We're having it on the TV right now because the Yankees lost and the Mets stink right now. So both of our teams stink today. So we got the NHL.
Hey, we're
Awards.
mounting a comeback.
The
Don't
Yankees
count 'em
stink.
out.
The Mets don't stink yet. They haven't lost yet. So
Yeah, oh yeah. Technically the game's not over. So Yes, so Igor won the Vezina, rightfully so. He was unbelievable this year. It's like a historic season that we're all gonna remember one day. We'll look back at this season and be like, wow, this guy's sensational. And Sorokin actually got he almost got a unanimous Vezina win. Shesterkin, I thought he could have. I thought it was very possible. But Ilya Sorokin from the Islanders, Frederik Andersen from the Hurricanes, and Vasilevsky from the Lightning all got one first place vote. So that took away from his unanimous win. I thought it was very possible he can win unanimously because he was just that good this year. So Igor Shesterkin, the Rangers didn't get the result they want in the postseason, but they get an award winner with Shesterkin. He also got some MVP votes as well. Did not come out on top. He got third place in the MVP votes. I think he got like close to 20 or a little bit over 20 first place MVP votes, but that went to Austin Matthews. He ran away with it, rightfully so, just like Shesterkin. But then speaking of the hockey, we'll do quick before we get to the NBA to finish the show. Can't count out the Lightning. Doesn't matter who they're playing. Don't care who they're playing, whether it be the Rangers, the Panthers, the Maple Leafs, or the Avalanche. The Avalanche take game one at home in overtime. They take game two at home by destroying the Lightning in a shutout. And then game three, they go back to Tampa. You got to remember, you're playing the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. You're playing the best goalie in the league with the best with arguably the best defenseman in the league, arguably the best two forwards in the league, in Stamkos and Kucherov. I don't count out the Lightning until they lose 4 games before they win 4 games in the playoffs. And they took it to Colorado. Kemper coming off a shutout for the Avs, got demolished. He got pulled. And it's a 2-1 series lead. I was talking to some one night out over the weekend. I told this person, if the Lightning take game 3 to make it a 2-1 series lead, they're right back in the series. Even if they lose game 4 and they go down 3-1, they're still in it, I think. But if they lost game 3 and took game 4, I feel like the Avalanche would be able to shake off game 4 and win game 5 to win it 4 games to 1. But game 3 was crucial. Even Stamkos said it was a must win, and they played like it was a must win, and they looked like the Tampa team that walked through the Panthers. They looked like the Tampa team that won 2 cups in a row. They looked like the Tampa team that won 4 straight after going down 2-0. This Tampa team, other than walking through the Panthers in the second round, 4 games to none, got demolished in game 1 against the Maple Leafs and won the series after being down 3-2. Demolished in games 1 and 2 against the Rangers, go down 2-0, win 4-2. And they lose the first 2 against the Avs in the Cup, and then they're right back in the series. And a win tomorrow is, again, we had the Avalanche crowned as champions going to game 3. Never count out the Lightning because this is what happens.
They're like the Patriots right now. They're like the Patriots of old with Tom Brady winning all those years. You could just never count them out. Like, I guess you could say Vasilevsky is like, the anchor, as dominant, as like clutch as Tom Brady was. And, that's the comparison there.
He's like Brady. Every time you doubt him out, Vasilevsky, just like I had to hear the Ranger fans in my face the first 2 games. We got Vasilevsky figured out, but he's not the same. And what happened?
But literally look at game 2 and 3 with him.
Night and day.
Like he literally let up 7 goals. That was the most he's ever let up in any game ever. And he bounced back at home, and they took game 3.
And the Lightning go from getting shut out to would they score 6 or 7 yesterday?
I think 6. I think it was 6-2 from what I remember.
Yeah. So the Lightning, it's you kill them one night, they're not going to be that same team the next night. They're not going to be. Most likely they're going to beat you the next night after you kill them. Even if you just beat them one game, like in the overtime, you beat them 2-1, 3-2. There's zero guarantee that you're going to even have a close game the next game. You might win 2-1 game 1. You might get killed by the Lightning game 2. I mean, look at the Islanders last year. Remember game 4, Pollock makes that great save on the goal line. They tie the series at 2 on a great ending. Game 5, the Lightning destroyed them. Destroyed them.
That was a game we were at the viewing party, right?
Yep, that was disgusting. Yep. Yeah, to go to. And then the Islanders took game 6. They come from behind in game 6. 2-0 down. They win 3-2 in overtime. All the momentum's on their side, even though they're going into Tampa. And what happened in game 7? 1-0. Shut it down. You scored 3 on Vasilevsky. Guess what? You're scoring 0 the next game. I don't count out the Lightning until they lose 4 games before they win 4 games.
So all that being said, who do you have winning the whole thing?
I still have the Lightning.
I'm feeling Avalanche. I think the Avalanche are going to win it. I'm not saying it's definitive or it's definitely going to happen, but I don't know. My gut says the Avalanche are good enough to get past Tampa.
They are good enough to get past Tampa. They are the best, other than the Islanders. They are the best competition to the Lightning, I think, in this 3-year run. I'd have to really dig deep, go back.
I mean, look at what they did this postseason. They
battled back in round 1, battled back in round 3, walked through game, destroyed the President's Trophy winning Panthers in round 2.
No. Oh no, I'm talking about Colorado. Yeah. I'm like, wait.
They've lost like 2 games.
What happened there?
Before this cup? They've lost 2 games.
That's what I'm saying. So look at what they've done against in a playoff hockey setting. So they are capable of doing this, and I think they will.
You know, if any team's going to beat the Lightning this year, it's going to be the Avalanche. But again, I can't. The Lightning.
I'm not ruling them out. I agree with you. I'm not ruling them out, but I still think Avalanche gets on top.
All right. So we'll finish this up. We'll go over to Joe. NBA Finals, Knicks draft. Knock yourself out. Let's see if there's anything I can chime in for.
Yeah. So the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, 4th championship in the last decade. Just an absolute, just dominant team for the better part of the decade. I thought it was a great finals. I really did not have a horse in the race. Even as a Knicks fan, I was relatively okay with seeing the Celtics win. I like their team. I like their guys. But the Warriors are just too much. I think anybody that watched the finals quickly saw that the offensive firepower that the Warriors had was just unguardable, right? You have 4 guys, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, 5 guys, Andrew Wiggins, that on any given night can beat you. And as good as the Celtics defense was, they did not have enough to stifle most, if not all, of those players. So on any given night, it was somebody's game to just kind of go off. Andrew Wiggins played 2 of the best games in his career in the final 2, really put them away. Steph Curry had a historic run in these finals in terms of shooting percentage. He was just lights out, but he had a game where he shot 0 of 9 from 3, and they still won by 15 or 16 points. They're just such a well-built team, not bought, built over time through the draft. And it's just amazing the way that they're set up. I don't remember if we talked about this last week on the show, but the Golden State Warriors back in, what year was it? Let's see. Back in the 2015-2016 season, they went 73-9. That was that historic season where they just won more games than anybody, I think, in the history of basketball, right? They lost that finals, but the year prior they won. They followed that 73-win campaign up with 67 and 58 win seasons, winning 2 in a row. And then they lost in 2018 and 2019. Klay Thompson got hurt, didn't play for 3 years. Steph Curry got hurt, didn't play for the better part of 2 years. They won 15 games in 2019, 2020, and then 39 games in 20 and 21, affording them really valuable draft picks. So this is a team now that bounced back from those 2 really poor seasons, thanks to their veteran guys in Steph Curry, Draymond Green, the return of Klay Thompson. Really successful seasons for their young players in Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, who they acquired via trade. And they have 3 really solid rookies on the back burner in Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, and James Wiseman. This is a team that from top to bottom is set up for continued success. And it's crazy to me that if they're winning 4 finals, they have the opportunity to run it back next season. Steph Curry is under contract until 2026. Klay Thompson is under contract until 2024, along with Draymond Green. This is a team that has been great, is great, and can be great for at least another 2 seasons. I mean, Steph Curry is 34 years old, but he shows no signs of slowing down, and his game allows him to play longer in his career. He's not an overly physical guy. He just beats you with speed. He beats you with his quick release, and he could do this forever.
If I was a Warriors fan, I think I'd ask you to marry me right now. That was very moving.
The Warriors are just a really, really good basketball team.
I haven't seen this in my lifetime in sports where you have a dynasty end and that same group just come back and do it and about to possibly do it again. You usually see the dynasty run, and then you had those 2 years where they were garbage. Those injuries hit, and they're like, all right, it was a good run. nope, we're bringing back the same guys again, and we're just going to run it back.
And even
it's really unprecedented.
And even minus the Kevin Durant.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though we know they didn't need him.
They won before Kevin Durant arrived. They won with him,
yeah.
and they won after him.
Mhm.
If that doesn't tell you
Mhm.
how solid the structure of this team is, I don't know what.
I'm not going to sit here and say that I expected it to happen, but I'm not surprised because in a sport like basketball, you can do this.
I didn't expect the Warriors to win the finals when the season started, but when the postseason started, I was very much a believer that they could do it. And it shows you just how far experience can go. I mean, this is a team that the road was not easy for the Warriors. At times they made it look easy, but if you go back and you look at the series and you look at some of the games that they played, there were moments when it didn't look like they were going to prevail.
Easy in the finals.
Whether it was it did a little bit, but you know, this is a team that is no stranger to adversity in the playoffs, coming back in the playoffs, the pressure of the playoffs. And when you have guys like Klay Thompson, who is not the defensive guy he was, but he can still very much shoot it. And then Steph Curry, greatest shooter that the NBA has ever seen. These guys can put up points in bunches on you quick. And any time that they needed it, one of these guys came through. And it's really just an incredible run. And for me, solidifies Steph Curry as one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
And
I agree.
It goes to show how you build it in all sports, and you're seeing it with the Warriors. You build through the draft, and when you do that, you add the pieces around it. They get Draymond, Clay, and Steph, and then you get the juggernaut and Kevin Durant, but you get pieces like Jordan Poole and Wiggins around the draft pieces. And now we look at the Knicks, and we wonder why they have been bad for all these years, is because one draft after another, it's a miss. And they never have a core young group that they can build around. They can never hit. RJ Barrett is the one, other than Kristaps Porzingis, but that died out quick, is the one bright spot out of the draft since when? Patrick Ewing? It's not even an exaggeration.
It's been a while.
I'll say one.
They can't build out of the draft, and we wonder why they've been in this rut for so many years. Because they can't draft anybody.
Yeah. And you want to say something?
I just want to say one more thing on the Warriors before we go to the Knicks, because that's where it looks like we're going. Warriors did not face elimination once this whole run. 4-1, 4-2, 4-1, 4-2.
Yeah.
That's great for them.
And despite those numbers looking like they made it easy, there were moments during this postseason when they didn't look like they had it under control. But because they've been through this before, that's just such an intangible thing that they have
the player
that no other team in these playoffs had, and it paid off. And I don't remember what I was going to say now, but I wanted to talk about the way that this Warriors team is built. We talked about it in the car. The Golden State Warriors and then last year's champion, the Milwaukee Bucks, are not super teams. I mean, you could look at the Warriors and say, okay, like their team is absolutely spectacular.
They're
Look
not
at the
a
guys.
free agency.
They were not.
Team.
They were not bought. This is a team that was built much like the Milwaukee Bucks, who were patient with Giannis, who brought in guys that complemented his game. And I look at this, and this is a perfect transition for the Knicks. I look at this, and it scares me when you have a guy like Kyrie Irving come out and say, or rumors come out that Kyrie Irving would consider going to the New York Knicks. If the New York Knicks do something like that, it's going against everything that we've seen over the last couple of years in terms of what it means to be a successful basketball team. You have to be patient with your talent, and you have to know when to use the assets that you have to acquire certain guys, right? Kyrie Irving would cost us, first of all, a lot of salary cap space. We would have to lose many guys. We're already regarded as a team that is looking to shed contracts. We have Alec Burks, Kemba Walker, Nerlens Noel, all very likely to not be on the team next season. We have a logjam at positions. But you lose a lot of guys and a lot of assets to acquire a guy like Kyrie Irving. And we always talk about the best ability being availability. This is a guy that has not played a full season in years for various ridiculous reasons. So you can't bring him in and expect him to play 70-plus games in a season and help you. Because think about the guys that you're going to lose to get him. So the point I'm trying to make is that there's a lot of smoke happening around the New York Knicks. And it's not surprising considering the draft is coming up this week. Knicks have pick 11. In this draft, that's not entirely valuable. We might trade back. We might say, hey, we can't get a sure thing. We might trade up. We're talking to the Kings at 4. We're talking to the Pistons at 5 for point guard Jaden Ivey from the Purdue Boilermakers. This is a guy that could change the trajectory of your team. And with a weak free agent class over the next couple seasons, maybe this is a move that the Knicks make with all of their first-round picks in the coming years, all of their young guys that they can offer in a package, Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, to get a point guard, which the Knicks have not had in years. The Knicks have not had a solid point guard that can run the offense in God knows how long. And if you think that the answer is Kyrie Irving, who's going to be ridiculously expensive, who's proven that basketball is not his number one priority, it's stupid. It's stupid. And so despite the Knicks having to surrender multiple first-round picks, one of their young guys that played decently well last season to move up in this draft, this seems like something that the Bucks or the Warriors would do. Build through the draft. Don't go after the big fish because you're going to swing and you're going to miss. Kyrie Irving did not want to be here. He chose Brooklyn over New York years ago. Yeah. So what makes you think that he is realistically saying, I want to play in Madison Square Garden?
They should not touch him with a long pole. That he should be. They should get away from him like he's the common cold. No way you should look into Kyrie Irving. But you're talking about the draft, and you said how like the 11th pick is not like seen as valuable. NBA draft is so weird. It's so like
the NBA
like. If you're outside the top 5, it's like, why are you even drafting? Unless you hit on like a Draymond or a Giannis, you know?
Yeah.
It is. It's the only draft that's like that. It's crazy.
It is.
And then you have football.
It's only 2 rounds, too. Yeah.
And then you have football where guys go undrafted and become the best player at their position.
Yeah. Like 5th-round picks are valuable in football.
So the draft has a big 3. I guess you could say a big 4. There's Paolo Banchero out of Duke, Jabari Smith Jr. from Auburn, Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga, who... The more I look at him, I do not think that he is. I don't understand. I mean, this guy is 7 feet tall and he weighs 195 pounds. His body is simply not built for the game. But you look at a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who came in, was a stick figure, and once you get into these professional teams, you have access to everything under the sun to build your body up. So he could turn out to be great. But this draft has a big 3. Which is exactly why the Knicks would be willing to move up or trade with the Kings to get that 4th pick.
What do you think the ransom's going to be?
The ransom would be this year's 11th. It would probably be a future first, which we have plenty of, and then it would probably be one of like Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, Obi Toppin, which, in my opinion, I'd be willing to do because I think at pick 11, you're kind of taking a little bit of a shot in the dark. I mean, you have talented players at that spot, but there's no obvious game breaker types.
Go.
No, you're okay. Good.
No, I was just gonna say, from what that trade proposal that you made, in a perfect world, the Knicks would love to give up quickly, just because they're going for a guy that plays his position. So then you can keep some value in Obi Toppin and still use him, because if you trade Obi Toppin and keep Quickly, you're not going to use Quickly.
I'm seeing Alan Hahn. He's been tweeting about this one guy
about. Jaden Ivey?
It's Ivy. Yeah.
So,
I've been seeing it all day in the past 2 days. I'm like, what's he talking about? This guy with the Knicks. Again, I'm not following the draft that much, but it's this guy, Jaden Ivey.
Jaden Ivey is super exciting. I've been talking to Nick about it all day, actually. And the more I talk about it, the more excited I get, and then the more frustrated I get because I'm afraid that it's not going to happen. But
how many years of college? Sophomore.
He's a sophomore. He got off to a slow start, but he became a consensus All-American. This guy is, when you look at him and you watch him play, he seems built for the NBA. 6'4". He's got a really long wingspan. He's only 20 years old, and he's got like a big body, right? So with that wingspan, you can work him on the perimeter. Defensively, you can use him. He can withstand, pressure in the paint. But the most exciting thing about a point guard like Jaden Ivey is his explosiveness and the fact that he's so quick twitched. This is a guy that only needs to beat you like a half step to completely collapse the defense and drive into the paint. This is a guy that can beat the defense at a moment's notice. But that quick twitch is a blessing and a curse, because if you watched him in college or over the course of March Madness last season, where I think he brought Purdue to the Sweet 16, a lot of times when he drives to the basket, he's out of control. So it's a blessing that he's able to move the way he does, but it's also a curse because he's turnover prone and he's a little bit wild. And as a point guard, you need to be able to run the offense effectively. You need to be able to slow it down at times. But anything you read about Jaden Ivey, the names that are included in any bio or any summary of his play style: John Morant, Anthony Edwards, Dwayne Wade. I mean, you read that as a Knicks fan, you can't help but get excited. Emmanuel Quickley has played great for the Knicks. Last season, improved tremendously from the year prior, but he does not have the upside of a Jaden Ivey. The Knicks are looking into Jalen Brunson, point guard for the Mavericks. They're looking into Malcolm Brogdon, who's played for the Pacers and the Bucks. Those guys are options at point guard, but from what I've read on Twitter, at the very least, Jalen Brunson is intended to sign with the Dallas Mavericks. He's also asking for a boatload of money.
25 million, I saw.
25 million.
It's the NBA contract.
It's an absurd amount of money for a guy that, in my opinion, has not proven himself over the course of many years. I would much rather use our assets, which we have a lot of. Knicks have a lot of young players, and they have a lot of future firsts. I would rather use those for a younger guy, 20 years old, who you get on a rookie contract and has more upside than any of the guys in the free agent class.
Speaking of the draft, Orlando Magic's report that Paolo, that guy Paolo, has pushed back his workout with Orlando time and time again, and has not worked out for them. Their belief is that Paolo does not believe the Magic will take him, and that's why he keeps pushing the workout back.
He's probably going to go. I think.
When the Magic pick?
I'm going to find out right now. They're first.
Oh.
So it's Orlando, Oklahoma City, Houston, Sacramento. So Sacramento is the pick that the Knicks would probably need to get to take Jaden Ivey. Top three are probably going to be Jabari, Paolo, and Chet. Probably going to be the order. But you can literally flip those any which way. It just depends on what each team feels they need the most.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what is it, Thursday, Joe?
Yes.
All right. I actually not working that night, so might tune in to see if they make a trade for this guy, Jalen Brunson. Then, right? That guy. Right?
Yeah, I hope they don't.
No,
Brunson's a signing.
I know,
not
I
a
was
trade.
making a joke.
But I just hope they don't get Jalen Brunson.
And I was making a joke. I was calling. I already forgot the guy's name that you were talking about there. Trying to
Jaden Ivey.
Jaden Ivey. I knew it was close to Jalen and Jaden Brunson. Right? Getting there.
Jordan's just along for the ride.
I'm along for the ride. There's my guy Lindor striking out. Oh, he's 0 for 4 today. Poor guy. Not good, Joe. Not good. Well, that will do it on this episode of Uncontested Sports with Jordan, Joe, Ringle, and Francisco Lindor on this Tuesday night. We'll see you all next week. NBA draft recap. Let's see what let's see what the Mets do. Because I got the Mets on in front of me. Let's see what the Knicks do.
They're just living in your head right now.
I know. Him and Lindor.
Big fan.
Can't get enough.